Welcome to the Chirosation, where chiropractors share their stories and lessons learnt in practice. The intention of the Chirosation is to provide resources and a community that will help chiropractors realise their innate potential. So join the Chirosation today. I had an awesome time catching up with Sam and hearing her stories from the past year. She has been travelling around New Zealand and the world, telling the chiropractic story to the next generation of chiropractors. And of course, encouraging them to study at the best college. She has had a wealth of experience interacting with the public and shares the lessons that she has learned in becoming a master communicator. Sam offers a unique insight into the world of chiropractic, and she also shares her why and what drives her to be so passionate. So without further ado, enjoy this Chirosation. Thank you so much for being here. If you can just introduce yourself a little bit, give some background as to what got you into chiropractic and what's been the journey so far.
Cool. Well, firstly, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's great to catch up and to hang out. Okay, so my chiropractic journey really started, I was about 14 years old, and I was a competitive swimmer. So I was swimming a lot and aiming for national championships at that age. So my coach obviously was pretty hard on us all and really into seeking out anything that was going to obviously help our performance, make sure that we were nice and healthy, strong, and could do our best on the day essentially. She was really into going to the chiropractor herself, naturopathy, homeopathy, all those sorts of things. And she mentioned to our squad, I do remember the day quite clearly, where she actually talked about chiropractic and how it's great for your function and your performance. How about you guys go along? I've got this great chiropractor that I've been seeing, and I sort of took her up on it. I was like, oh, I'm curious. Let me go along. And so I went along. Her name was Dr. Joy White, and sort of ever since then, I've never really looked back. She was amazing, and it was never for aches, pains and symptoms. It was always for performance. She explained to me that obviously chiropractic is more than a treatment of symptoms or anything like that. So that was always my outlook on it. It did help with my swimming. It improved my endurance, how I could perform on the day, my recovery times, those sorts of things. And I started becoming more inquisitive and asking more questions over time. I initially wanted to be an architect, so quite a change in career paths. And then I got to about year 12, I was taking all my sciences at school, and my chiropractor turned around to me and she's like, look, how about you come and be my CA for your last year of school, and that way you get to see who comes in and out of the practice and see a different side of it. So I was quite naive to the fact that a lot of people do come in for back pain, headaches, those sorts of things. It just never really crossed my mind that that's what chiropractic was perceived to be out in the public. So that was a bit of a taste of that, obviously being in the reception there. And then I went to Otago University to do my first year of health science. I applied for chiropractic school at the same time. So it was always with that intention that I'd be moving to Auckland. I did want to go and have that sort of uni experience and everything, and it was a little bit closer to home for me being from Christchurch. And then made my way to Auckland, and it's been amazing.
It's been a journey from
yeah absolutely.
That is amazing, and I mean super cool, because I when I first got into chiropractic, I'd never really heard of it before. I'd never seen a chiropractor. I just kind of like when people ask me, I more say that chiropractic found me rather than I found chiropractic. I finished my degree and then kind of heard about it and thought, oh, this thing's really interesting. And then all of a sudden, kind of the doors of the universe opened up and everything just said yes.
Yeah.
And it all just kind of fell into place. And I went, okay, well, I guess I'm going down this trajectory.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's awesome that you've had that experience of what I would call real chiropractic from the outlet. That's
definitely
fantastic. And then obviously got through the college experience, and at the end you got the shoulder tap saying the profession needs you. and you were the super recruit this year. So what's been your experience, and can you kind of talk us through the year from the beginning and what you've been up to?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm the recruitment officer currently at the New Zealand College of Chiropractic, which has been incredible. If I could sum it up in one word, really. Don't get me wrong, I sat on the idea of it for a long time in my last year of college, sort of weighing up the pros and cons. Obviously, when you work so hard for something, you want to go out and you want to go and actually do it. Little did I realise at that time that regardless of whether you're in the trenches or you're doing something like I'm doing, you're still working towards a higher purpose or towards your why. And that's been something that I've definitely discovered this year. That's a whole different story. So yeah, I mean, being the recruitment officer at the college, you're really the face of the college, I guess you could say. I'm out and about in high schools, dealing with careers advisors, back in the office at the college, liaisoning with certain recruits that have come into our system, that have shown interest in the possibility of becoming a chiropractor. We recruit internationally too, so going to different careers expos in Canada specifically, and then careers expos within New Zealand as well. Doing all the follow-up for that sort of thing, presentations at schools. So it's been an amazing opportunity to really work on my communication, and really honing in on my why, and just chiropractic in general, becoming more familiar with how I want to present it and how I want other people to perceive it.
Certainly.
Yeah.
But it actually sounds like you got a lot out of this year as well as giving a lot.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Oh, absolutely have. And when you're on the road, it's just me. So I do have a lot of time, obviously, in my own head. Yeah, absolutely. So not only have I learned a lot from others, but I've learned a lot from myself too.
Cool.
You make mistakes, you overcook a conversation sometimes you undercook it. We all know what that's like when we're obviously checking, our people as well, and report of findings, all those sorts of things. It really does test your communication skills, and we're not going to get it right every time, but the more we can do it, the more practice we have, the easier it becomes, the more second nature it is. So yeah, it's been definitely a great learning experience, but a huge opportunity as well for me.
Definitely. So what are some highlights and lowlights of the year? What are some things that you learned?
Yeah. Okay, some highlights. Definitely just for starters, the travel. Obviously that's appealing to be able to travel around. I really like the idea of traveling your own country and getting to know the crooks and crannies and the different cultures that make up our society. And all regions are so ever slightly different. So that's been really cool just to see my own backyard. Of course, networking with different chiropractors on the road has been phenomenal. So I've had that opportunity to, like I said, be out in the community, be visiting different practices, introducing myself, being nosy. Sort of got to scope the place out, see how it feels, how it smells, like what sorts of things they have on their wall, how they communicate to their people. All those sorts of things. Also just the influence that I could say that I've had on not only these high school students, but hopefully the community as well. You never know what you do or say today, affects the lives of many others tomorrow. So, just telling that one high school student who didn't know what chiropractic was, have they now gone and told their mum, their dad, their sister, their brother, whether they become a chiropractor or they don't, at least now they know a little bit more about it. I've always felt very strongly that we've got a lot of work to do on our own profession, becoming cohesive, having the same message, supporting each other. We have this really supportive environment at the college, and then it's just kind of each for their own when we're out there. And I think we absolutely have the ability to unite and come together and be a little bit more supportive than we already are, and and share those messages to the masses, because it's a pretty important message, and I feel like it really does need to be shared more and more and more.
So what have been some lessons learned, some mistakes that you've made along the road? Some things that you'd maybe do different next time?
Things I do different. I don't like to dwell on these things.
Yeah, but the fact that you're having to think about it, that's a good sign.
Yeah, I definitely don't get hung up on it, and I don't regret anything at all.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, it's definitely, just like I said before, kind of honing in on how you communicate with people, and learning to read people that little bit better, and having kind of different ways or different takes on the same sort of situation, depending on the person that presents in front of you. So again, I've had a lot of time to think about this, but I feel there's sort of 3 groups of people out there, commonly sort of in our community. And one group, I'm out on the road, or I'm at a career expo, and I have these people that come up to me and they're just absolute advocates. They just love chiropractic so much that they really just want to come and tell me how awesome it is. They want to tell me who their chiropractor is. Oh, do you know them? And often you do, because we are a small profession, and we all, obviously me being on the road as well, I've got to meet a lot of people. They purely just want to come and tell me how awesome it is, and how it's changed their life, and how they just refer everyone they can to a chiropractor. The second group of people are those people who are just completely naive to the profession in general. They don't even know that it exists. They're not sure what it is. And that's obviously an awesome opportunity for us to kind of have a bit of a plug and just educate them slightly on what it is. And that's that first question they ask. What is chiropractic? We should all be able to answer that. So that's a huge cohort, I feel, as well, and I know you could read into it on why that is. And then there's that third group who think they know what we do without knowing what we do. And they're those ones that I would love to be able to shift their perception. But I think it's really important that we boost up our advocates and educate those people that don't know, and then work on them last. So build up our strengths before we focus on those weaknesses. But again, that's quite a large cohort as well. And yeah, I've found it seems to be the older generations, and again, we could read into that one as well. But I've heard all sorts of things. I've grown a pretty thick skin this year. There's definitely some horrible people out there, and I'm sure they're not just horrible about chiropractic, but maybe they're just not nice people in general. I don't know. And so just being able to kind of see those differences in people, and acknowledge that those different groups of people are going to have different questions. So just being able to, I guess, communicate and work with kind of whatever comes up. I think that's really important, obviously, when you go into practice and things like that too. Any other mistakes or anything I've learned?
Must have been a good year. Must have been fun.
Yeah,
a couple of things that I definitely want to jump back into, but just to kind of get a perspective, because I think you have a really unique perspective on that. It is, what is chiropractic like in the different areas of New Zealand, and then also having a bit of a kind of cultural experience of what chiropractic is like overseas, especially Canada, for example, because it is very different over there. Yeah,
definitely. Well, within New Zealand, there's definitely pockets in New Zealand where there's a lot more chiropractors, obviously, than other regions. And when you think about how many chiropractic interns we currently have at the college, and how many chiropractors practice in Auckland versus how many people are here, quite a large number comparative to some of our smaller regions in New Zealand that perhaps don't even have any chiropractors in certain towns. So I think there's huge potential for New Zealanders, or immigrants to practice chiropractic in these regions. And I think if we're really going to speak to the masses, we do need to start with these small communities. You know, communities tend to back each other, support each other. Everyone talks, you know, Mrs. Jones knows old Bobby down the road there. So, you know, if you can provide a great service for her and educate her on what chiropractic's like, next thing you've got Bobby coming in as well. And that message, soon starts to spread further and further. So, yeah, I definitely see potential in that, you know, having new graduates start practices in these smaller communities, and helping sort of unite and get that message out to more people.
Certainly. Well, and if you look at the busiest, quote unquote, busiest practices in New Zealand, they're all from rural towns. Because there is maybe one or two chiropractors there.
Yeah. And
they're really good. So everyone goes to them.
Yeah, absolutely. But I also don't think that should stop you from going and setting up a practice in Auckland, for example. You know, there's still not enough of us.
Yeah.
You know, there can always be more. And what you bring to the table is completely different to what I do, and completely different to what someone else does. And that's what's so cool about chiropractic, is that we can all have the same intention and a very similar purpose in life, or a very similar vision, but the art of chiropractic is so very different for all of us, and that's what's pretty awesome, I think.
I love that. It's something that makes me so attracted to what chiropractic actually is.
Definitely.
Because how diverse it is. I've done a bunch of these conversations, and I've talked with a lot of chiropractors outside of it, and not a single one has been the same. And for me, that's super exciting.
Oh yeah, it's very unique. So who you attract is going to be different to who I attract, you know, and there's going to be like-minded people out there in the community. So, you know, you could set up a practice right next door to me, you know, and we're going to have different people, regardless of whether you were there or you were down the road or you were in another town over. You know, people are going to travel to come and see you. They're going to be attracted to what you've got. I think if you can just make yourself unique and just be authentically you, you won't have a problem attracting those sorts of people to you.
Certainly not. And then, I mean, I guess that's pretty similar overseas as well then. Because chiropractic overseas would definitely still be a minority. But the way that it fits into what how you describe it, but the kind of medical profession, medical modality, healthcare, if you will, chiropractic fits slightly different overseas, is that right? Or has that been what you've experienced?
Yeah. Varied, and I suppose like whoever you talk to is going to have a different opinion to someone else.
This is your stage, Sam. This is your opinion.
Yeah. Well, I think, in all honesty, we're so fortunate to be here in New Zealand and to practice here in New Zealand. I think we've got something so special here, and you know, we all know it, that chiropractic in the States, for example, is it's a little bit shaky and a little bit uncertain on perhaps the future of chiropractic there, and it continuing to be a united front. And that's because not everyone's singing the same song. They're not sharing the same message. And I mean, Canada, not so much. Like, obviously, that's where most of my experience lies, is being over there in Canada. You know, and there's people over there doing amazing things, which is really awesome to see. But yeah, I mean, I guess like the insurance companies, they work slightly differently over there as well. So depending on your insurance policies, you're actually entitled to X amount of chiropractic visits per year. And so a lot of people will just use that amount of visits, and they won't stay on for long-term care or anything like that. You know, because why would they pay $60 to get checked when they could pay $5? So, I don't know. I think that's quite unfortunate that's how that has all worked out. So I quite like our system. that we don't have those sorts of insurance policies in place, and that people have to put a value on what you do. I think that's really important, and I think they make the best practice members as well when you have people that actually value what you do and are happy to pay for your service.
Sure. Well, it's an exchange of value.
Oh, it absolutely is.
I'm providing you with this chiropractic care, which is worth a massive amount.
Yeah, definitely.
And you get to pay pittance, because I tell you what, I paid $20 a year for my care, all right? So the fact that you're paying what you're paying, it's very, very different.
Oh,
and I think a lot of people don't get it, because in my experience, this is Ben's time to share his opinion. There we go.
Yes.
In my experience this year, people who have had insurance policies and actually get the message, they'll use it. They'll have the whatever it is, $400 that they can claim under their insurance for it, which is fine. We give them an invoice, they send it to the insurance company, the insurance company rebate them, but they're still very, very happy to come in for proactive chiropractic care for the rest of the time. And that's how they work it. And for me, I think that's great. It's like, yeah, use your insurance, you're paying for it.
Yeah, definitely.
But they still understand why it's important for them to get checked regularly, and they're happy to pay for it out of their back pocket, because they know that their quality of life is better because they are getting checked.
Yeah, definitely. And that's cool. And, but that's down to your education and your communication with them as well. And
people get it.
Yeah.
When people get it. When
do.
People just think this is about pain.
Yeah.
And I've had a few chats with Scott Maybank over in Canada, and it's hard for him because the mentality is different.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's what he's experienced, in that it is very pain-based. But I chatted with him. It's like, yeah, it is, because they don't get it yet. So tell them what it is, because people aren't dumb. I don't know. They seem pretty
exactly.
similar.
And I think we have something very, unfortunately, unique to share, in a sense that we have had a really philosophical training, I suppose you could say, where we've got a really solid foundation in terms of that higher purpose on why we're actually doing what we're doing. And chiropractic to us isn't a treatment of aches, pains and symptoms. And unfortunately, there are colleges out there who have gone a little astray, and their model of chiropractic, or their brand of chiropractic, isn't like ours. And so there's no consistency in that message that people are receiving, and they just lump it in with everything else, and so it does become very pain-based or symptomatic-based.
Well, the problem with chiropractic is it's actually very effective at getting sick people well. So people go, this must be what it's for.
They make that correlation, I suppose.
And exactly. Well, and it's that whole correlation does not mean causation. No. It's like, just because your body's working more efficiently and it's healthier, so therefore you feel better and in less pain, does not mean I'm managing, quote unquote, treating your pain at all. Yeah. And if someone makes that correlation, well, then they're just uneducated, and they need to be educated.
Yeah, definitely. So, I don't know. It's interesting to see where everyone's at and where obviously different parts of the world are at. But if anything, it's just made me very grateful for what we've got here. And who's to say New Zealand can't lead the way? Be that country where the most people are checked per capita, where seeing the chiropractor is just a habitual part of your weekly routine. It's absolutely possible. And we definitely have the potential to do it. So, I'm all for us leading the way.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I love the vision, Sam.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
absolutely.
Yeah. Very excited. So there was a couple of things that you mentioned before, and I can't you can't tease them, and I have to ask them. Right. So firstly, what is your why? Because super curious. Yeah. And the second thing that you're talking about is when people ask you, what is chiropractic? I don't actually think they're asking you what is chiropractic. I really think what they're asking is, why is chiropractic? They're trying to get the background of, because when someone's asking you, what is it that you do? Well, if you break it down, I adjust people to get their nervous system to work better. But that's not chiropractic. That's just what I do. Yeah. Why I do it is so much greater, and that's why my patients keep coming back and seeing me. Yeah, because they want to be attached to the universe. They want their nervous system to be functioning at a much higher level, because they want to engage in life at a higher level. So when people get that, they go, oh yeah, that's why I want to get checked. Not because he adjusts me, but because I'm a better version of myself when I am adjusted. Absolutely. So that's my perspective. But what is your why? And when people ask you what is chiropractic, do you describe what is chiropractic, or do you describe why is chiropractic? Okay.
Well, my why, if I can sum it up in a sentence, is really to shift the vibrational frequency of the world. I want...
Right,
yeah.
so good, love
It isn't in one sentence. And, you know, like
Trust.
I said earlier, whether you're, you know, like you said, you're adjusting, making sure that there's no interference to the nervous system, whether you're doing that or whether you're out there educating people on what or why is chiropractic, or whether you're teaching, whether you're lecturing at the college, whether you're a mentor, whether you're the president, whether you work in operations, whether, you know, you're just a huge advocate, whether you're a practice member, you know, whatever it is, you're still working towards a why like that. You know, being a chiropractor isn't my why. It's a method in order for me to help achieve that. And that's only one leg. There's obviously other things that I'm going to do in life to help try and shift that vibrational frequency. So, yeah, when you talk about what or why is chiropractic, I think initially a lot of people will come over and they say what is chiropractic. And like you were saying, if you broke it down and you told them exactly what it was you actually do, that really isn't what they're interested in. Some people are, and they want that nitty gritty kind of, and how do you actually do that with your hands? And well, you know, there's a story.
Go study it.
Go study it and you'll find out.
Yeah.
But I think when you talk to someone, you only have a limited amount of time to captivate them. And so I've done quite a lot of practice on it and tried a lot of things this year, and I think utilizing those first few seconds to really captivate them and start creating more and more questions and get them pondering what the hell this woman's on about, I think you do really have to start with that why, and why chiropractic is even a thing. You know, so often just starting with, you know, we're helping you become the best version of yourself. And they're like, what?
What do you mean?
What are you talking about? What do you mean? Yeah, just saying that you only have X amount of time to really captivate someone. So if you can pose a question or you can put something out there that's quite obscure or quite abstract for them, I find that that's quite captivating. If I was just to turn around and tell them exactly what it is that we do right then and there, then you can't really elaborate on that, can you? So I know I really do like to start with that why, and posing a question like, or a statement, you know, about helping you become the best version of yourself, or empowering you to know just how extraordinary you are. And then they're like, what is she talking about? You know, and then they can start asking, you know, sort of for more finite details, and you can obviously provide that for them. But it's nice to have that bigger why, and I think that's something that, again, is quite unique to our profession and something that we're very proud of. So we should be screaming it from the rooftops. We should be telling people about these things and not just keeping it to ourselves. Yeah.
Well, it is, honestly, it's really surprising to me. Because I always grew up with chiropractic ideas and philosophies without actually knowing that they were chiropractic ideas and philosophies. And it just makes sense to me.
Yeah, same.
And constantly I get surprised every day in practice with people who just don't get it.
Yeah.
And it's really surprising that this is not common knowledge, because it just has been for me my entire life. It's like, really, what?
Yeah, that awareness of it, right? That, your body is incredible.
Yeah.
And you've got all that you need right here, right now.
Yeah.
And that you're amazing, and that you can overcome these things, and you can achieve extraordinary things in life if you so choose. You've got the power to do that. So just helping people recognize that, and it starts from those career events. You literally have a blank canvas when a kid comes up to you and says, "Oh, miss, what is chiropractic?" You know, like, or, "Oh, I've never heard of this," or, "What is chiropractic?" You know, like,
yeah.
Honestly, 9 times out of 10, that's the question that they're going to come up with. And you do have a blank canvas, you know, you get to tell these kids, so I hope I've got it right. You know, to be influential, and obviously they're going to have to hear it time and time and time again. You know, they probably took one thing away that I told them at an event, but it's one more thing that they didn't know before.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And if you want to shift this vibrational frequency of the world, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, man.
One little nudge.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, we're all doing our part.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then talking about being courageous and doing different things, what's on the horizon for you?
Yeah, cool. So I actually finish up in my recruitment role in the office anyway, come Christmas. And then I am off to Norway. We're sort of breaking new ground over there, which is really exciting for the college. And that's helping the college work towards their why, or their greater vision of a world of people expressing optimal potential. So we can't just be flooding the New Zealand market with wonderful graduates, but also, international markets as well. So next on the list is Norway. So we're over there in January, doing a bit of a career fair over there and talking with some of the Eureka practices, the directors of those practices, which is really exciting.
It's very, very exciting.
Yeah, so I'm super stoked about that, and to be educating them on how awesome NZCC is and sort of what we're fostering here in New Zealand in terms of our brand of chiropractic. And then after that, I'm heading back to my roots. I'm going back south to hang out with my family for a bit and just reground myself, have a bit of a break, take some time off, and I'm looking to start my own practice. So,
cool.
Yeah, I think I've gathered enough ideas this year, and like I said, I've been fortunate enough to be a bit of a nosy Parker. So I'm really excited about that. I wouldn't say my vision for my practice has changed, but it's definitely cemented it for me this year, which has been pretty cool. Another thing that I've learnt on my journey this year is that we do have an incredible education at NZCC, and I'm abundantly grateful for it. It's amazing. It amazes me every day still, and I feel that any person that walks out of those doors could start their own practice. You absolutely have the skills and the tools to go and do it if you so choose. You absolutely don't have to do that, but if it is something you want to do, you don't need to wait if you're ready. And I believe everyone is ready if they want to be. I'm excited about that, and I feel really confident about that. I'm excited just to get into it, and
I'm excited for you.
And
it's awesome.
Yeah,
it really is.
I guess work towards that why from a slightly different angle.
Yeah, exactly. That's really cool. And what resources, podcasts, YouTube clips, books are you reading at the moment to help you grow?
Well, I love this podcast.
Shucks. Shameless
No,
promotion.
but honestly though, I found it really helpful, and I really enjoyed just listening to my peers, especially, my fellow graduates, just talk about their experiences and everything as well. I think we're all guilty of not catching up enough. So it is nice to kind of, hear it, I guess, through a passive source that, everyone's actually doing just fine. Everyone's awesome, and although everyone still has a slightly different journey, we are still, I'm sure, we've all still got a very similar vision, and we've all probably had very similar experiences in terms of ups and downs. The method in order to have those ups and downs is just slightly different, I suppose. What else? I'm really inspired by all the people at the college, to be quite honest, as well. Phil McMaster is an incredible person. He's an amazing human, a great mentor, but also just a great friend too. He's doing wonderful things for this profession. He's an incredible leader. I think the college and the profession are in really good hands with him. Even like the ops team at the college, my admissions and recruitment team, all of the lecturers, they're all amazing people, and to have that opportunity to have a different relationship with them now as a colleague and not as a student, and not feel in want of a better word, but inferior, I suppose, when you do look up and you idolise these people, and now to be sitting at the lunch table with them and just having a casual conversation has been really cool and very inspiring. That's kind of where I'm at the moment. I don't have a lot of time for reading and things like that.
Yes.
But I do, really enjoy these podcasts. I enjoy just my lunchtime chats with people like Graham Dobson and
how cool is that? I'm just gonna have some lunch with Graham for a little bit. It's fun. Yeah.
That's amazing.
First name basis now. So
lots
just
of little pearls to share. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
if there's people out there who are really inspired by you, they want to reach out and get in touch, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
You can Facebook me, so just Samantha Keeling. You can email me while I'm still at the college.
Before your email changes.
Probably Facebook is honestly the best way. Just send a private message. I'm happy to chat, answer any questions or queries or.
And you're pretty good at talking to people, so I'm sure.
I'd like to think so.
Been working on it for a while.
Yeah, I have been. I have been. No, it's great, but we absolutely always have more to learn. So
it doesn't stop.
Oh, exactly. It's all very exciting. Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. Sam, thank you so much for coming on. It's been
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
Well, that's it, guys. The end of 2016 is drawing near. It has been an awesome year for me in practice and learning and connecting with you guys out there and connecting with my colleagues and sharing their experiences from this year so far. We're definitely going to be back in 2017. I've got some big ideas on how to grow this platform and reach out to some different chiropractors offering their unique experiences out in the world and in practice. Look forward to it. Have an awesome holiday season. I'll catch you all soon.